Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Yeah, as you can see, part 4 is officially in action. A lot of you asked for part 4, so we made it happen. Since the first 3 parts did great, smash that like button so this one can run just like the first 3. And again, we're talking strictly about big, massive haul trucks. How they deal with problems, bad weather conditions, how drivers push through obstacles, and how they handle the kind of damage these trucks can take. So grab a cold one, because we're getting into it right away. All right, first clip. I'm watching this and thinking, why didn't they pump all that water out first? I mean, can't they see they're risking shutting the trucks down? Radiator fans can bend from the water and end up ripping the radiator apart. But hey, looks like profit matters more than safety. The only right move here was pulling that P&H electric rope shovel out of the water. Looks like they loaded more water than ore. Well, at least they won't have to drive through dust all the way to the crusher. All right, this is a familiar situation, and it happens pretty often. My take is this. He was heading uphill, lost power, started backing it down slowly on the brakes, but with a full load, the weight took over, pulled him back, and popped the front end up. Yeah, and this happens pretty often too. The whole rear end just ripped off. Wheels and the electric motors and everything. Most of the time it starts with a tiny crack in the frame. Heavy loads plus a rough haul road keep hammering it. And sooner or later, it turns into a full-on failure. For Balazs trucks, this is pretty typical. The electrical system is a big issue. Because of overheating, fires happen way too often. Most of the time, it starts around the areas where the electric motors and the braking system are located. Brake discs, different hoses, and especially around the electrical box where all the switches and breakers are housed, right next to the driver's cab. You'll see more situations like this later in the video, where Balazs trucks are literally going up in flames. And in the next clip, I'll show you exactly which part of the rear end I was talking about, the area where the braking system is located. And this is it. A lot of you thought the differential was located here, but nope, that's not it. Inside this box, you've got the braking system, discs, pads, the electric motors that drive the truck, and a bunch of hoses that are usually soaked in tons of oil and grease. When that whole box heats up from heavy braking and the electric motors, it can easily spark a fire because the temperatures get way too high. That's exactly why we had to remove those hatches on all our Balazs trucks. You guys asked us many times why the covers are missing. Well, now you know why we take them off. Broken axle, most likely from overloading and a rough haul road. You've probably noticed there are a lot of Balazs trucks in this video. So what do you think? Are they really that reliable? Let us know in the comments and tell us a bit about your own experience with these trucks. Well, Balazs again, but in this case, it could be any truck. Dump bodies get worn out all the time, which is why it's crucial for welders to keep them maintained by regularly welding in steel plates. They wear out the fastest when hauling material like quartz, or rich ore with a high iron or nickel content. And after a long time, we finally see some cat. And believe me, I'm trying to figure out how it managed to tip over on its side, especially since everything there is flat. It wasn't sitting on any slope, and honestly, I've got no idea how that happened. And now, something that sends chills down your spine, the nightmare of every driver. I don't think there's a worse feeling than being completely out of control, the moment you realize nothing is in your hands anymore. In situations like this, the only thing left to do is grip the steering wheel tight and pray you don't end up in a pit or run someone over. Dead angle, we've talked about this many times. This incident happened on March 21st, 2023 at the Solnsevsky open pit mine. From what it looks like, a Belaz haul truck weighing around 160 tons, about 352,000 pounds, was turning right, and during the maneuver, it ran over a WAZ minivan that was parked nearby. One man managed to jump out just in time. Most likely, the Belaz driver didn't even realize there was an obstacle under the wheels, a car with a person still inside. The haul truck then backed up a bit and tried to move forward again, crushing the vehicle even more. What caused this incident, and why the minivan driver stopped there in the first place, is still unknown. What we do know is that this wasn't an isolated case at the Solnsevsky mine, and in this situation, the minivan driver is definitely at fault. 2 or 3 weeks earlier, a Belaz crushed a contractor's vehicle at the same site, the one you're looking at right now. Luckily, there were no casualties in this case either. Another Belaz fully engulfed in flames. This one happened back in 2012 at the Kostomuksha mining and processing plant near the city of Kostomuksha in Russia. In my opinion, the firefighters made a serious mistake here. They got way too close to a burning tire, clearly underestimating how powerful a haul truck tire explosion can be. A much safer move would have been to bring in a vehicle and fight the fire from a distance, instead of putting themselves right next to something that could blow at any second. And in the next clip, you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. And now you're about to see exactly what I was talking about. Just how powerful one of these explosions can be. This was a close call. The guy got insanely lucky that day. If he hadn't stepped away from the tire just a few seconds earlier, he could have ended up slammed into the roof structure of the workshop. A haul truck tire explosion can be comparable to a shell up to 100 millimeters caliber, releasing a massive shockwave that can kill a man even a couple of meters away. The force of that blast is often compared to the equivalent of up to 10 kilograms of TNT. He should have waited for the grader to finish the job here and remove all the mud from the haul road. But as usual, production comes before everything else. Nice spot to blow a tire. Honestly, I don't think even a whole fire department could put this one out. Even if someone pushed it straight into the ocean, that fire would probably still keep burning. The situation is pretty clear here. Dry on the surface, wet underneath. That means the ground looks solid from the outside, but below the surface there's a trap waiting. Deep mud, and who knows how deep it really is. From the driver's point of view, the haul road looks dry and safe, so there's no reason to suspect what's hiding underneath. And then, the next thing you know, a powerful D11 has to come in and pull you out of the mud. A very unpleasant situation to be in. In the next 3 minutes, you're going to see what it looks like to drive in front of, or better yet, run from, a 170-ton haul truck. Enjoy the view. All right, what do we have here? From what I can see, it looks like the front axle literally snapped and came apart. It took the shocks with it. The axle housing and everything just got ripped out. But since this is a Balazs truck and the parts are easily available and relatively cheap, I don't think the whole repair is going to cost that much. What do you guys think? Would 50 grand be enough to get this truck back in action? Let me know down in the comments. Another Balazs. Who knows what went wrong this time? You can see it had to dump the load right in the middle of the road. Some kind of emergency move. This situation is well known to me. After rain, haul roads get insanely slick. Literally, like driving on ice. I've tried cleaning it with a grater plenty of times, but it's just impossible. The ground soaks up a ton of water, and the road turns into this slime. Hard to even explain. The only real fix is spreading some fine gravel on the haul road. But what I don't get is the guy filming from the truck. He's just sitting there calm, like nothing's happening, acting like there isn't a 180-ton monster sliding straight toward him. I've watched this clip many times and it always leaves a strong impression on me. It's one of the worst scenarios that can happen to any driver. Dashcam footage shows the Balazs haul truck attempting to take a turn at high speed. The multi-ton vehicle slides straight through the corner, tips over into a ditch, and the clip ends with a massive fireball explosion. What's remarkable is that the driver survived this terrifying incident. It happened on July 3rd at the Bystrinsky Mining and Processing Plant in Zabaikalsky Krai. According to preliminary reports, the accident was caused by a failure in the braking system. This is exactly what I was talking about earlier. This is what haul roads turn into when it rains. Slick, slimy, muddy. Call it whatever you want, but this is a real nightmare. I cleared the mud just a minute ago, and look what's happening. The truck is struggling like I didn't even touch the road with the grader. All right, I'm watching what's going on here, and I honestly can't believe how unprofessional this looks. First of all, they brought in an empty truck to recover this Hitachi that's been sitting in the same spot for who knows how long. You can clearly see vegetation growing around it, which tells you it's been there a while. On top of that, there's a lot of water collected in the dump body. A machine this heavy, sitting for a long time on soft ground, is going to sink over time, and that makes the recovery even harder. When you're trying to recover a vehicle like this, the truck doing the pulling should be at least 50% loaded to get proper traction. Here, the truck pulling the Hitachi is completely empty, which is why it's just sliding around and spinning the wheels. On top of that, they're burning through tires that are extremely expensive. The second unprofessional thing is the people guiding the driver. There are several of them, and every single one is giving different signals on how to move the truck, which is honestly pretty hilarious to watch. In the end, they did manage to pull the truck out, but only with the help of a bulldozer. But I've got one more question. The person wearing the blue helmet, is that a he, a she, or both? All right, guys, that's going to be it for today. If you enjoyed part 4, let me know in the comments if you'd like to see a part 5. And don't forget, a like and subs are always appreciated. It really helps us with future projects. Stay safe out there, and see you in the next one.